Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to come out to be a part of this Reach One, Teach One ministry and basically, taking this information and to be able to teach our community. As I said before, you had mentioned something in class that really shocked me when you said you never had seen a black person before. And kind of explain that before we go into details on the questions we have going forward.
Well, not exactly not seen,
Okay.
but I didn't think of anything different. I grew up in the North. We were integrated in schools all my life. We had a lot of people from a lot of different countries that had come. It was a steel city. People came to work, and they were just other people. I never thought anything different because we really didn't have much prejudice in those days. So, indeed, they were people who were in school. We played together on ball teams, and they were friends. That life changed when I moved away.
Explain that.
Well, my first duty assignment in the Air Force was in the Deep South, a place called Albany, Georgia. And all of a sudden, things that I had heard about and said, no, these really don't exist, existed. The fact that white and black people could not use the same facilities, for example. The way they treated them as if they were almost unhuman. I'm going, where did I land in? I'm not sure of this culture here because it was against everything that I had ever learned. So that made a difference in there. Now, there were some opportunities. Dr. Martin Luther King marched through Albany, Georgia while I was there. And although the Air Force said, don't go down there because they didn't want us, actually what they didn't want us down there it was in uniform. I did go down and I caught a glimpse of him. I wasn't close enough to do anything else. But and then as I learned more about him, I realized what an awesome person he was and how God put him in the right place at the right time. So. Okay, my next question to you, how was slavery part of anything in your culture? The only thing it was in the things that I learned. Of course, if you go back to biblical times, they had slavery. Slavery is not anything new. And then I was history major in college, and I teach history now. And so, we talked about the slave trade and how it affected the then known New World. We talked about the fact that the Portuguese really were the first ones from Europe to start in the slave trade. Now, there was slave trade all across the Middle East. There was slave trade, lots of places. But the Portuguese started it up because there were islands off the coast of Africa that they found could raise sugar, and sugar brought a big amount of money. So they needed people to do all that work, and the average person said, I'm not going to work like that in the sun, and so they went and they got some slaves from Africa and they moved them there. Well, then it progressed all the way through into the Caribbean, into South America, into North America, etc. So indeed, this was, everybody looked at this as if this was normal. Enslaving people should not be normal. Enslaving people to do things that you don't want to do and that you don't want to pay for is absolutely wrong. And I don't care, and there's a lot of people that enslaved other races beside the African American. And it wasn't good then, it's not good now, and of course there's still slavery in the world now, and I don't know how we can ever completely defeat it because there's always somebody willing to do that just for their own greed. And so that's what really bothers me a lot about what happens.
And you made a statement about, slavery is pretty much having somebody do something that you don't want to do. So that's just a good way of looking at it. I don't want to do it, so I'm going to find somebody else to do it. So that's a good way of definition.
And somebody I don't have to spend a lot of money paying.
To get the job done.
And that's part of the greed factor. I don't want to pay somebody to do it. There are a lot of people who will do things like that for money. Slavery was, I don't have to pay them. Now, you did have to feed them and you did have to board them, but that wasn't done very well either. So it was just the greed factor that it is still here in the world. The greed factor has never left.
Just in a different form.
It changes forms a bit, but it's still there.
It's still the same.
Still there.
Next question, what kind of advice could you give to our audience, for our current situation. You know, like you say, slavery would always exist. And you look at slavery from an aspect, like you said, you know, doing something that you don't want to do. And that I don't have to pay this person more, you know, any more or any less to get the job done. What can you say to our audience today to help make a difference, to let them know and to educate them that it will exist and it always will, but how do we make the best of our situation? Looking at Cameron, give us some advice.
To be real honest with you, slavery should not exist.
Yes.
It does, and there's very little we can do about it. It's less than it ever was,
Yes.
but that doesn't mean it's gone, and that doesn't mean it won't rise up again. People have to treat human beings as human beings, regardless of what their background is, regardless of what the color of their skin is. They need to be treated as human beings.
Yes.
And slavery dehumanizes.
Yes.
And so the big idea here, folks, is you have to treat everybody that you meet as a human being who has the same opportunities to live a productive life as you do.
Yes.
And you don't take advantage of them. If you're going to use people to work hard, you make sure you pay them for what they do. But putting people under slavery and giving them no option on their lives, that's inhuman, and it shouldn't happen. And that's what we need to stop.
Yes.
But it's a tough life. It's been trying to stop this for a long period of time, and sometimes we seem to be successful, and then it raises its head again. And that's not always in the United States. I mean, it's all over the world.
Good point.
And there's people who are willing to do that just for their own benefit.
Yes.
And that's wrong. You take human beings and you treat them well, and you expect the same treatment back from them, the world would be one heck of a lot happier.
That's all right. Would you like to have anything else you'd like to share to help us to better understand history? Because that's what you love. That's just your passion.
Well, history teaches you a lot of things. And the trouble is we rarely learn from history.
Yes.
We look at history and we say, boy, those people shouldn't have done that. And then you turn around and you're doing it again.
Yes.
And you're saying, what did you not learn about why and how to treat people and how to make relations happen? And we constantly make a circle. And we forget this, and we're doing it again. New people come in and say, but I can do it better. Well, some may be true, but a lot of them don't ever do it better.
Right.
They just do it again. Where you should have said, that was wrong then, it's wrong now, it's going to be wrong tomorrow. Stop.
Yes.
Let's go another direction. How to convince people to do that, though, I haven't been able to figure out.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate you for coming out with your time, Mr. Miller. And again, we appreciate you. And again, the whole purpose of this together is to reach one, to teach one, taking the information that you have, because there are some people who will never sit in class.
True.
You know, some will never have an opportunity to sit up under your teaching. And guess what? Now you'll be able to reach them through YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, you know, that they may not ever get a chance to sit in class, but now they had an opportunity to listen to Mr. Miller, and hopefully and pray that they will learn something and build up and carry on.
Well, we always hope we can teach people something to better the lives of everybody. That's the ball game right
Yes.
there. Not just a few. Everybody. Everybody.
All right.
When you say, okay, we'll take these people and take care of them, and then you put these other people over to the side and say, we don't care,
Yeah.
that's wrong.
Yeah.
It's always been wrong. It'll always be wrong.
It's all right. But we thank you and we appreciate you.